It's a massive honor, one which I still have not come down from, especially in a category that is so, I like to say, brave, just because I think often we're credited, well, in the industry, you know, when you've paid your dues, when you've established yourself and, you know, you've put something out there that's amazing. But this award was for the people who are scary and brave, who are, you know, getting their foot through the door. And to be recognized for that, I think is such an honor. Yeah. So for me, it was a bit of an unorthodox route in. I was lucky enough to be spotted on TikTok, which, you know, it's something that is so weird to be able to say, but I was singing songs and musical theatre and covers and stuff. And, you know, I landed on a casting directors For You page, and then they approached us and said, would you like to audition? And I said, absolutely. Once I was at the audition, then it was all normal. I think TikTok was great and being spotted from TikTok because it got me that route in. But then the actual audition process was the same. It was really long for some people, quite short for some people. We did a skate round. There were loads of variables and factors we had to consider. Being there in the finals, I was the anomaly. And I really thought, oh, okay, they're not gonna go for me because everyone else here, I remember them talking about their ages and everyone was like 30. And I was going, oh, okay. And I remember doing some research about Ray Shao, the original Rusty, and he was about 30 when he played it. And I was like, right, okay, so I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, I'll get on the tube back. And I guess it worked in my favor, but it was very scary. And I think not having that experience made me say loads of things in my brain, but it's all part of it and it worked out in the end. They took us to this place that we call skate school, and maybe up to 6 months, I think. I want to say 12 to 14 weeks-ish, we learnt the hard way how to skate. It wasn't a nice little roller rink with nice lights and music. It was the ins and outs of everything from the skate to your mentality to footwork to laces to this to that. It was blood, sweat and tears. But it made us so qualified that we know everything we need to know for anything. So, yeah. So we have amazing teams from every department who help us warm up. We do a physical, a vocal, and then a skating warm up. And they essentially tie in together because when you're warm in one area, you'll feel more comfortable in the others. You know, now I feel we've come to a point where we probably don't like singing when we're not on skate. I just feel used to it now. So it kind of ties together that we're used to doing all three. So we warm all of them up to make sure we can do the best job. Everyone has their own routine. For me, I like to go into my dressing room and just have some me time. I put on a TV show and I eat my lunch. And I just like to unwind like that. That little bit of downtime, I think, that's my thing, and that's how I will just make sure I'm ready for the next show, whether that's later in the evening or the next day. It's always good to get into the mentality of having some time for yourself and just letting your whole body relax. It really takes a toll, and because we do so much of all of the things now, they just tie into each other. So yeah, you can tell, and I think a big part of that is also just like a rested brain, so. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It means that we can never shut off. I think sometimes there's a bit of a beauty in my friends who are in the West End who they'll say, yeah, if I'm like at the back of the stage, you know, I can stand there. I mean, they don't switch off, but you know, they're doing the show while relaxing just a little bit. But with skates, it's not just for your own safety, but it's for everyone else's, because if one person goes, we all go down. So it's, for the most part, so it's the sort of thing that you can never switch off with it. So that then ties into when we aren't at the show, we do have to take some time. So yeah. The costumes are what really get us. I mean, they look phenomenal, don't they? And we have lights and batteries, and I've got smoke machines coming out of mine, and it does every little trick in the book. It is really, really iconic, and it's something that like it draws your eye. It's so colorful. They're so wacky. They're so wild. They're so perfect though, and I think it shows all of the creative team's minds, because to be able to create costumes that we can move in, that we've got to go up and down and do all of the spins and this and that. It takes a village to put that together, and Gabby Slade and all of her village came through and delivered so beautifully. So the costumes are probably one of my favorite things. They are really heavy. Some are lighter than the others, and then some are really heavy. I'd say all like we can move in. There's always going to be one part of a costume that's like a bit awkward. But we work around it and you get used to it. For me, it's my backpack that I have. It's really, really, really heavy. But apart from that, it's fine. Like you get used to it, and the audiences love it. So we love it too. Very daunting, I think, especially after coming back to London after so long, and the fact that so many people know it because it's, iconic. It was daunting. It had its challenges. And then you just have to remind yourself that, you got the part, you got it for a reason. Everyone around you is in the same boat as well. We're not playing the same characters. No one in the show is, but we're all in the boat of we're going to go out and smash this new revival. And we've got so many debuts as well. So they were just as scared as I was. And I think it's that unity of sticking together in the scary times that actually made us go, we can do this because we've got each other. So that's how I got through it, just because of the cast mainly. Ooh, that's a beautiful one. I'm not even going to say it's generic. I think it's deserved. I sing a song called I Am the Starlight, and that song is so impactful. Just to me, like, it's a beautiful moment in the show when there's loads of stars and I'm up on this platform, and even despite all that, like just the fact that the lyrics are like, I can achieve anything, it really reminds you, it's just like, if you put your mind to whatever you want, the only person that really needs to believe in you is you. And once you have that self-belief, once you find that in everyday human life, you can do whatever you want to do. And I think that moment specifically, to me, it's just a great reminder. If I leave Starlight, I'm gonna have to sing that to myself every day again, just to remind myself, just to get in the habit of it. So yeah, I think that moment, really impactful for me. I think I always knew I was gonna do something creative. For me, it was my sister. She is 4 years older than me, and she was singing at the dinner table every night. And so I started singing at the dinner table every night. And then it stuck, and I got into singing, and then I got into acting, and then I got into both of them together. And from a very early age, just singing around a dinner table, I went, I need to be doing this on stage. Like, that's what I want to do. Singing to my parents is one thing, and then singing in front of an audience of thousands is the dream for me. So yeah, it was something that I knew quite early on. I think a big beauty of it is finding that relatability within your character, which is hard because my character is a singing train. But I'd say there are some elements that make me go, I find myself being Rusty, whether it's the young underdog who's naive, or whether it's, someone who's been oppressed and battled hardship and, really tried to succeed no matter what. For me, that is what's made this journey what it is, because it's, as much as I love it, it's all one thing to be able to say, okay, I stand on a stage and I sing in front of people. But then it's another thing to say, I stand on a stage singing in front of people with a character that means the world to me, that I relate to. And so my journey has just gone from, a kid who struggled in life very early on to someone who, music and acting and the creative industry was my outlet. I had kind of a rough early childhood, and without even realizing that the arts and the creative side was something that I latched onto. And those were the stepping stones that eventually got me into, applying for auditions or putting covers out. And that outlet of music and playing piano and singing and doing this and doing that, that made me go, okay, I'm just going to put myself out there, see what happens. And then I ended up in Starlight. So yeah, I think finding that real passion within the industry and finding that outlet, that to me has made the journey. I was so happy to be part of National Youth Theatre because, acting is something which I love so much, especially with, especially like straight acting. Like, it's my dream to do a play, my ultimate dream. Even just to be like a serious actor, I want to establish myself as that. And National Youth Theatre was that first moment that made me go, absolutely. And it was weird because I did my course the year of COVID. So all of ours was online. And I remember going in thinking, okay, it's all going to be on screens. It's not like the normal version. So how's this going to go? And I wouldn't care if it was in person or on screen again. I'd do it 1,000 times again. It was so amazing. It didn't feel like a school. It didn't even feel like a workshop. It felt like just natural. It felt like creative beings coming together and showing their love for something and creating this beautiful piece of artwork and collaborating and giving each other ideas. Like, I'm still in contact with them. And that was, what year was that? 2020, 21? Maybe something like that. And, I'm still in contact with all of them and we share our work and we support each other. And that to me is the industry, even though the name National Youth Theatre is that, it doesn't matter. The fact that it brought so many people together and really solidified our love for the arts, because we were all people who, maybe had done a few classes, or some people were studying, some people were established. No matter where you were, I was back in Birmingham. I didn't know the first thing, Okay, I did. But coming together with that many people and just showing our love is what has made National Youth Theatre probably one of the highlights of my acting journey thus far. I think networking is a big thing because, you never know where people are going to end up and you never know who you're going to meet and who's going to be helpful to you. But it's also like, I hear that a lot from people giving me advice, talking about, you should always be nice to this person because one day they might da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, you could have stopped the sentence after you should always be nice to people, And I think it doesn't matter where they end up or if they're gonna give you a favor because you were nice to them. Just if you're nice to them anyway, that's all that matters. And, genuine people find each other and they stick together. And there were so many genuine people in that course that I'm seeing them venture on into different art. Like, some have gone into like art, some have gone into design, some have gone into stage management, some have gone into writing. And it's just that beauty of like having a friend in a different sort of category, that one day I might ring them up and go, hi, how is this doing? And by the way, I heard someone has an opening for da 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 da, and I mentioned you and stuff like that. It's a great support system to have. I don't think I want to limit myself to just, okay, well, I'm an actor, so I'm only going to hang out with my actor friends. This industry is so vast. And I think it's just brilliant to make as many connections and network just as much as possible. It's easy for me because I'm like a social butterfly and I don't stop talking. But I just think it's such a beautiful thing just to have that interdimensional genre friendships. I think it's so important. I think putting yourself out there is something that is scary. And I can understand 1000% why some people would think it is, it's too out there. And I can understand that. But it's also like you really do miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take. And I was saying to myself, okay, I'm going to put a cover out that might get 10 likes. One of those likes might be a casting director. And, it happened to be. That wasn't my intention from the start. I just did it because, I like singing covers and I wanted, the people that followed me to see that. But it just so happened that it landed on the right person's page. That might not happen. But at the end of the day, all you would be losing there is nothing. Like, at the end of the day, all you're doing is still putting your repertoire out there, showing people what you can do. And, it's about having that braveness and that boldness to say, I'm going to put myself out there, because what's the harm? I think that's a big one. Especially in the last 2 years, I developed a mentality that's gone YOLO and just do it, And I think we need to have that back, just because I think with a big rise of social media and a lot of safety support network, it's easy for especially us in this generation to just go, I'm just gonna wait, because I was doing that as well. But what's the point of waiting? You don't wait for someone else to knock on your door. I'd say go out and knock their own door down, because also then there's the fun of it. Then you get to say that you did that. You didn't wait for anyone else. I'm not going to be naive. There are multiple people out there who can act better than me and sing better than me, and I mean definitely dance better than me. But the only difference is that I am just trying to show my face as much as possible, because they have every right to do the exact same, And it's there's always going to be someone out there who is better than you in something, but that shouldn't stop you putting yourself out there. Because it's that mentality which I had, which made me go, okay, I'm just gonna wait. There's no point. The people who are making the deciding things are just gonna find the person who is putting themselves out there. They're not going to eventually knock on a random door and hope that you can sing, dance, and act. And then you just go, oh yeah, I can, great, that's my golden ticket. It's not gonna be like that. You've gotta go out and make it for yourself, I think. I'm one of those who, my professional and personal is all on one account, whereas that I've got some friends who have got a personal and professional one, and it works brilliantly for them. I think it really depends where your mind is and how closely you want to submerge yourself within it, because I think mentality is a great thing. And with social media today, especially, it's very easy to get hooked into it and also get brought down by it, because it can be the most beautiful but also the most traumatic place ever. And I think any tips I'd give there is remember that that what you're showing online, show that in real life too. And be a passionate person in person as well as social media, because a lot of the time, and it's easy for me to say getting scouted from social media, but a lot of the time I'd say a lot of people my age especially think, okay, well, if their Instagram looks really pretty and all of that, then a casting director will look at it and go, okay, that's what I want. But a lot of the time it is talent based. And I'd say just remind yourself that, back it up with the amazing talent that you've got. And I'd say, just finding that balance of where is healthy, because it's really easy to teeter from either side. Some people talk about how awful it is, but it is also such a gift, and you are not going to do yourself any harm from putting yourself out there. I'd say remembering that in this day and age, your phone battery is not always going to be 100%, so why should your body? As long as you have got, you're not overworking yourself and overworking your brain, it's all okay to have those moments where you're I'm too tired to do anything. I want to stay in bed, I want to get in the bath. It's great to do that. That in itself is recharging yourself. But I'd say to avoid burnout and stuff like that, especially in Starlight, what I found is reminding myself that mentality is the biggest thing. And with me, even if my body is tired, my voice is tired, if my brain does something very small, just acknowledges it and accepts it and says, today's going to be a day where I do feel more tired, I do feel, a little less prepared, and that's okay. As long as my brain's not saying, it's fine, carry on, because that is not going to help anyone, least of all yourself. So for me, I think mentality and just checking in with yourself and allowing your brain to have every end of the spectrum. It's not always going to be, I feel fine and happy and I can do 3 shows if I wanted to today. It's also checking yourself and saying, I don't feel my best. That in itself, what I found, I'm not going to try and come up with a solution right there and then, but I'd say acceptance is such a big thing, an acknowledgement of it, because just being in denial about where you are and your tired levels and stuff just will make you more tired because you're using more brain power. So I'd say to prevent burnout for me, I check in with my mentality and hope that the happier and healthier the brain is, everything else slowly should start to recharge. You tell me? No, I say this industry is turbulent in the best way. It's chaotic. And you've got to have the ability to say something might not come the very second I leave, but that is okay because I always say we're all on our own path. And when something is right and when it's meant to happen, it's going to happen and the rewards will be bucketful. You know, like you'll think, this happened at the perfect time for me. If I had it when, I wanted, 5 years ago or, a month ago or something, when I needed it or where I really, really wanted it, it probably wouldn't have been right for me. And I think, hopefully, when the time is right, something will come my way. If that is next week, if that's next month, so be it. I'd say for me, I really, really, really want to establish myself as an actor. Because singing is something which I love so much and I want to be able to come back and do a really mature role. Especially in musical theatre, I'm seeing so many roles that make me go, oh, I really want to do that. I wouldn't be able to do that for about 10 years though. But that to me is exciting. That's me there thinking, okay, but I've got so much time to, maybe venture out into different genres and do as much as possible. So for me, I really want to act. I really want to act. Yeah. I like to say he's not been created yet, only because I love sinking my teeth into something that is very bold and daring and just creatively mad. And I know that something's going to come along that makes me go, okay, I get to put my interpretation on this and do something that is so wild and creative, even if it's the most, serious character ever. I'd say my dream role is something fresh, something new, something that I can put my spin on. And I'll know it when I see it. And then I will beg everyone to say, please, can I be that character?